Good morning. We will call the November 1st, 2022 City Council meeting to order. I'll ask Councilmember Paul Taylor to lead us in our prayer and pledge. If you would, please stand.
Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunities that you grant us up on this dais to be leaders in this community and to take on these decisions that you put before us. Pray that you give us wisdom in making these decisions and that you just lay over a shield of safety for this community as we move forward into this holiday season. These things we pray in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is roll call. Marquise, you see that all current council members are present. Item 4 is approval of the minutes from the October 11th, 2022 City Council meeting. Those minutes were emailed out. If there are any additions or corrections, those minutes will stand approved as read. Item 5 is proclamations and recognitions. I'm going to ask Lauren Kirk to come to the podium and recognize our Anti-Poverty Task Force members. No, it's the other one. Oh, ask me how to work it.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Good morning, Mayor, Council, community. So the mayor, one of his first priorities when taking office was establishing the Anti-Poverty Task Force to address poverty and other quality of life concerns in Jackson. Members that joined the task force represented various areas in our community with social services, education, healthcare, and agreed to serve a 3-year term. And so we've had some that have since completed their 3-year term and rolled off, and just want to recognize those and thank them for their service, especially during the pandemic, where we were coordinating a lot of resources and trying to meet emergency needs really quickly. They gave their all, and I really appreciate that. So Matthew Marshall couldn't be here today, but want to recognize him, along with Miss Amira Graves from Lane College, and then Miss Andrea Hudgens, who is here. We want to recognize you and thank you for your service. So if you want to come up, I'll give you your certificate. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item 6 is invitation for public comments. So anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to any item under first reading can be recognized at that time. First reading, item 1 is proposed budget amendment, solid waste recycling convenience center in the amount of $65,778. Ask if Robin and Chris will come up and present that.
Morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
So we are proposing a recycling convenience center for recyclable materials in Jackson, for plastics 1 and 2, metal, and cardboard and paper. This will help reach our goals for recycling and sustainability. We do not currently have a successful recycling plan in place and do not offer curbside recycling at this time. We are proposing to create a convenience center to reach the demands of our community and give access to recycling for our diverse population. We have full confidence that the city-centered, supervised, and free convenience center drop-off will provide access to recycling of those items. So our mission for that is to provide a sustainable and cost-effective option for recycling needs located within the center of the city of Jackson that is both available and affordable to all residents.
All right, any questions from council?
Could you just give a little description on where this will be and the hours of operation and?
Sure. Is this, yeah.
Yeah, just sign that.
So the location is like I said, city-centered. So we have located an area by Health and Sanitation. This is Canalco here. This is our impound lot and fueling center. And then this would be the recycling drop-off. So it's fenced and freeways and it's open here. This will allow us to have a gated recycling center to control access to that. It will be supervised by 2 part-time positions. They will help with our residents with properly sorting that and any questions that they have in education. Any questions on the location?
Hours.
Hours. So we are going to be open Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll be closed from lunch from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and again, closed on 1 to 2 for lunch.
All right, any additional questions from council? This is not even the first reading, so I'll open up the public comment. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion from council? Council, please vote.
Motion moved 8-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 2 is proposed budget amendment for capital outlay reallocation, amount of $0.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a proposed budget amendment to our capital outlay fund. The mayor mentioned the impact is $0. What we're doing is reallocating among 3 lines in the capital budget that were approved with the annual budget ordinance. So we'll be taking reducing the line item for some exterior repair work here on City Hall by $15,000, and we'll be reallocating that $10,000 to the animal care department for funding for a transport unit. The cost went up from when the original budget was prepared. And similar situation for the street department, we'll be allocating $5,000 to the street department for increased cost on a trailer that was budgeted for this year.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. This is an item on first reading, so I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion from council? Council, please vote.
Thank you.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right, thank you, Bobby. Item 3 is consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 231 Belmont Avenue from I-3 General Industrial District to RG2 General Residential District comprising of 2.8 acres more or less.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have the items concerning this rezoning in your packet. The Planning Commission has recommended this to you. Basically, this area is zoned I-3, which is your heaviest industrial class that we have in the city of Jackson. It was a part of the recycling operation that has been down on the end of Belmont for years. With this rezoning, they're downzoning this property back to residential, which is a good thing. It will move the I-3 industrial class back across the railroad track, so it won't be near the residential uses that are already there. We will have them, any operation associated with the industrial operation will be moved back across the railroad track, any junk, recycled metals or anything. And then the building that's there that they're currently renovating will have an apartment that'll be above it for the owner. The owner lives out of town, but when he comes home or comes here to visit the operation, he wanted somewhere to stay, so he's putting an apartment above it, and that's the reason for the downzoning, because I-3 doesn't allow residential uses. So this is a downzoning, as I said, which is a good thing, and will hopefully help clean up that area as it extends into the residential part.
All right, any questions from council? This is an item on first reading, so I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized at this time.
Just one, good morning, Mayor, Council.
Come on up and introduce yourself and have a seat real quick.
Thank you, sir. My name is Calvin Taylor, lifelong resident of Jackson, Tennessee since 1984. My only concern is I own property on Lenore Street, which is adjacent to that area that's in question. My only question at this time is, what is the proposed plan for that property once it's cleaned off?
Just residential. the residential class that they're asking for downzoning to will only allow residential, so it'll be similar, it will be basically an apartment for the owner that owns the recycling operation.
Any ideas how many units or?
Only one, just his.
Just his.
Mhm.
And the rest of the property will have what done with it?
They can't use it for anything other than what they're proposing to use it for.
Mr. Pilot, would they be required to clean the property up to the state, but since it's no longer an I-3 zone? they'll be
Any
required-
metals, anything associated with the recycling operation would have to move across the railroad track back onto the property. So they would have to do that because the residential class would not support that. But other than that, the only proposal they have is to accommodate the apartment that's being put above.
Still time frame?
They're currently working on the building now, so it was caught during the building permit process. And that's why they were stopped, because they were putting a residential unit in an area that a zoning that wouldn't allow it. So this basically stopped that. So once they get this in place, they'll be able to go forward and complete the unit for the owner.
Okay. And this will have to pass on 2 readings, so if it passes today, you have to pass again in December before it can be zoned.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Taylor, can I just ask what you were foreseeing or any problems that's come into your mind? What were you?
Well, I've had conversation with the manager of that recycling facility, and my concern was that my property is connected. Actually, there's a fence separating my property from the recycling facility, and I've had issues trying to get that cleaned up.
Okay, good. So this will be a good thing for you then?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, if I might,
Yes.
Stan, will they clear up that metal building that's over there as well?
I'm not sure about everything. Anything that's on the other side of the street, they don't have any plans to do anything with that. It would still be zoned like it currently is zoned, but we'll talk when we get farther along. We'll talk to them about that too. We'll look at it and see if it's something that's proper or not.
It's an eyesore, and it's certainly not in keeping with residential zoning. That's the reason I
Yeah.
asked.
We will talk to them about that because we'll have some ability to discuss that with them as they proceed through the permitting process.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, any other questions from council? I'm sorry, not questions. This is still a public hearing. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay there, Stan, just in case. Go on to second reading. Item 1 is consideration of an ordinance to amend the official municipal code of the city of Jackson relative to the Community Redevelopment Agency. This was passed on first reading.
I guess we could expect next month to have the officers presented to council.
Yes, once this is done, the officers will be presented to council, and also we'll take care of amending our bylaws to align with this too.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right. I think you're good for a moment,
You want to just sit here?
if you want to, yeah. Item 2 is proposed budget amendment for city pension fund, amount of $10,913.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion from council? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right, get on to new business. Item 1 is consideration of a contract with Four Seasons for uniforms workwear. I believe you had that information presented to you Thursday evening, and Zach informed us he was not in the office today. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, and a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right, item 2 is consideration of a proposed dumpster enclosure to be located at the northwest corner of the City of Jackson parking lot near North Highland Avenue and North Liberty Street.
All right, so let me give you what I've got in terms of the sequence of events that occurred. We were approached by a restaurant that is trying to locate downtown, and because of the downtown area and the buildings being basically, in a lot of cases, 100% of lot coverage, and there not being any off-street areas or parking areas or normal areas that you would devote to dumpster enclosures. They need a location for a dumpster enclosure to take care of what the restaurant produces. Without it, they can't operate the restaurant. So they approached us about using an area in our parking lot across the street. And let me put that, because apparently some of this wasn't shared with you, and I apologize. I was out with COVID and wasn't able to be there. I don't think you'd wanted me there, because I don't want to share this with anybody, even people I don't like. But here's the location that they proposed, which is on the far end, the northwest corner of the city-owned lot, just south of North Liberty. They proposed this location. They felt it would be isolated and that the trees would help screen it. They propose an enclosure similar to the one they have at another location. So this would be the enclosure type that they would be utilizing. It would be a 10 by 25 foot area. Inside the enclosure, they plan to put a dumpster for recycling cardboard, a dumpster for normal garbage, and then an area for recycling oil, a container for that. And so that's what they want to put at that location. In talking with them, there were some concerns that were presented to me from a member of council about the vegetable oil, because sometimes, that they don't always do a good job of not spilling it along the way and trickling it all through the parking lot. And so I talked to the owner, and they said that, they plan to take care of that and not create a mess. They're just appreciative that we're considering a location, because without it, they can't operate. So, but they also, this isn't like cloak and dagger. It's not that they don't want to say who they are. It's just they're working on their brand, and it's a local restaurant that has a presence here, and everyone's been there probably and knows it. But they just said the brand will be different than their normal brand, and so they just didn't want to name it. So it wasn't like they were trying to hide anything. They just felt that this time they didn't want to present it because it was still being worked through. But one of the concerns is, that the dumpster enclosure, because of the location, could be visible, that if they don't take care of it, it could be a mess. Now, in the agreement, and I don't know if y'all have that agreement in your packet, it's a very simple agreement that basically states that they'll be required to keep it in good condition, that they have to maintain it. Also, that they will use it for only the purposes that we've stated. They're not going to use it for anything other than that. And that if the restaurant goes out of business and it stays vacant for 6 months, then that would go away. And then anyone else that came along after that would have to make another agreement with us about it. There have been discussions, Paul and I have had discussions about the location and other locations, and he sent me this morning, which shows another location that he felt like might be better than the one that's proposed because of visibility. And again, I think Paul, in our discussions, wants us to look at the issue more broadly, because downtown is having more and more activity, and that's a good thing. We've invested a lot in downtown to make it a much better environment to be in, and he feels like that this may not be the first and last request that we get, that we'll see other requests that will come. And so he would like to see us discuss it more comprehensively, just to look at the possibility of doing something that would serve others in the future. I think the restaurant that's proposing to go in the old city court building wants to know that they've got a location. So now we'll discuss it with them. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think they just want to know they've got a location, because without it, they don't have the ability to operate their restaurant. So whether it's what they proposed, or whether it's another location, or whether we come up with a permanent location that this becomes temporary and then in the future we look at something else, that's up to you as council. I think they just want to know that they've got a location. The agreement can be amended, you know, if you want to, you know, look at another location and establish that. You know, the exhibit will just show where that location is, so it could be changed to show another location if that's what you desire. If you want to delay it and talk more about it, it's just, you know, it's again, it's up to y'all. I just think they can't, the restaurant can't go really gangbusters full force forward until they know that this is secure, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If we don't vote on this today, is that gonna hold the restaurant up?
They were in their 50-day due diligence about 30 days ago, so yes, it would be another month for them.
Could we, excuse me?
Okay.
Could we, have the consideration for the dumpster enclosure, but not specify where it's gonna be located, so they can have the assurance that it's gonna be done, so they can proceed?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that if you, the exhibit will show where the location is. So whether it's their first proposal or whether it's an alternate proposal, I think everyone's in agreement that the best, at least in the short run, is some place on this parking lot that won't impact traffic and won't cause problems in terms of the utilization of the parking lot. So I think as long as they know that you will provide, you know, the city will provide them a place, I think that allows them to go forward. You know, we can come up with a location, you know, if it's one that's more desirable, if that's what you want to do. But I think to not take any action, they wouldn't be able to go forward with it, having it up in the air.
No, I would agree with Councilwoman Wallace. The goal, my discussions was to provide a temporary spot. If we set this out on the parking lot, the truck traffic will chew the parking lot up within months. So we need to make sure that we're, in the end, that we're planning for not only this restaurant, but this isn't going to be the last time if we're successful downtown and trying to accommodate dumpsters. So I'd like the opportunity, if we could pass it, what I would refer to as a temporary location, and give them the assurance that we can help provide them with that service, that we would work towards a more permanent solution that could be shielded and, you know, have a brick facade and look nice and kind of be aesthetically neutral, rather than just putting something up in the parking lot that we're gonna have to repair ultimately in the end.
Do you wanna make that in a motion?
Yeah, I'd make a motion that
I'll second.
that we approve them to locate a temporary dumpster. One of the things I think we need to put in that agreement is some kind of time period for the lease of that until we're able to provide a more permanent solution for them. But that way they have the assurance to move forward so that they can locate their restaurant if that's what they choose to do there.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I can get the motion right before you second, please.
Yeah.
Are we gonna designate a temporary spot, or we just tell them that it'll be a temporary spot prior to a permanent spot?
I like your idea of
Okay.
where you were talking about putting it. I
Okay.
think as far away from Highland we can get, but as close as we can get to their operations. My fear was that the proposed location was about 550, 600 feet from their doors.
So Stan, put that map up, please.
Just need to change the corner to the north.
So move it east to where that white car is? Yeah, right there where the white car is. Since the peninsula's gone now, then, yeah. Okay.
Will that create a problem as far as access?
I don't think so, because the concrete peninsula's gone now, it can go straight across, those are, yeah.
Okay.
Those are both drives right there, so you can roll if you need to roll.
And that would be for say a 2-year period at maximum until we can provide another solution for them.
Okay.
And we'll just need to verify that the dumpster can be accessed from that location, you know, because I know as you get down into that area, as you can see, there's a lot of utilization of those spaces, and we just need to make sure that the dumpster can actually put his forks in it and get it out of there. But you know, as long as it'll work for them, and we'll talk with Lalani and that bunch and see if they can
I think we can find a workable solution.
Yeah, I
there.
think
Since-
given that all that area out there,
Yeah,
we,
since we pulled that peninsula out and it's no longer there, then we can, if it's even blocking off some parking spots where they're not parking spots, so the truck can get straight in there,
yeah.
we can do that.
This also puts it on the radar for downtown development, for this is a needed service that, not only for this particular part of downtown, but for a lot of downtown, they don't have access to dumpster enclosures.
So we can work through that location. That's what I think they just want to make sure they got one.
Okay. Can you restate your motion?
Yeah, I would move to amend the memorandum of understanding to put a 2-year temporary timeline on it until we can provide a more permanent question
And then moving the spot to that
and moving
location.
the spot to the
East.
place indicated by the mayor.
All right.
Does that allow us to move that location within the 2 years if for some reason this doesn't work?
Yeah, I think with the parameter that we're doing, we're gonna find a permanent spot. We just get, that's a temporary spot for up to 2 years while we're doing our work to
I
find
just
a
make sure that
permanent
doesn't, if for some reason it's not a good fit, that doesn't lock us in for
spot.
a
Right,
year.
yeah, that's what you're saying. All right, we got that. Councilman, we have a motion to amend the MOU to provide a temporary time frame of 2 years, up to 2 years. The spot indicated on the map where the white car is, there it is, at least, while we work toward a permanent solution. Does that sound right?
That sounds
Okay.
right.
All right, so that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
All right, thank you. Item 3 is consideration of amendment to the hotel motel tax agreement. And Lewis and Lori come up here and explain a little bit to us. Before we ask you to consider that.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
Before you have an amendment to the hotel motel tax agreement that is being brought to you by our governing board of Visit Jackson, the Community Economic Development Commission. There is only one change that occurs twice in there, and that is a date change from December of 2023 to December of 2024.
All right, any questions from council on that? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion from council?
For the public record, we have property in the area.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Item 4 is a tough one. Is the consideration, the acceptance of the resignation of Councilman Ernest Brooks II from the City Council, who, proud and excited for him, but a loss for the City of Jackson, accepted a job with the Shelby County DA's office and will be relocating there. So consideration of a resignation would be the same process as we've done the past 2 times this year. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right, item 5, consideration of invoices over 10,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 8-0.
All right, no further business coming before the council. Meeting is adjourned.
Meeting is adjourned.